It's July 2025. Coldplay is playing Gillette Stadium outside Boston. 70,000 people are there for one thing, the music. Then Chris Martin does what he always does at these shows. He points the kiss cam out into the crowd, panning across random couples for a laugh, projecting them onto a jumbotron the size of a building. The camera lands on a man and a woman. His arms are around her. She's leaning in, smiling, swaying to the music. And then they see themselves on screen. In under 2 seconds, the smiling stops. He ducks behind the barrier like he's dodging gunfire. She spins away and buries her face in her hands. Chris Martin. Mic's still on. Either they're having an affair, or they're just very shy. 70,000 people laughed. Within 24 hours, so did the entire internet. And by the end of the week, this wasn't a joke anymore. It was the reason a CEO no longer had a job, an HR chief no longer had a marriage, and 2 families were living through the most public scandal either of them could have imagined. Here's what makes this different from a normal internet catches a cheater story. These weren't random concertgoers. They ran the company together. The man was Andy Byron, CEO of a tech company called Astronomer, a data orchestration firm valued at over $1 billion. The woman was Kristen Cabot, the company's chief people officer, essentially the person in charge of workplace conduct and HR. The person whose literal job was making sure things like this didn't happen. Both of them were married. Both had families. And within seconds of that jumbotron moment, millions of strangers online had already decided exactly what they were looking at. The clip hit social media almost instantly, and once it landed on X and TikTok, it stopped being a stadium moment and became a full-blown manhunt. People slowed the footage down frame by frame. They zoomed in on faces. Within hours, amateur internet sleuths had a name attached to the man in the video, then the woman, then their employer, then their job titles, then, inevitably, their spouses' names and social media accounts. This is the part of these stories that always escalates faster than anyone expects. It wasn't just some CEO caught on a kiss cam anymore. It became a running joke, a meme template, a punchline stitched into hundreds of videos, while 2 real people were watching their entire personal lives get dissected by strangers in real time, before their own families had even had a chance to process what happened. By the weekend, Astronomer couldn't stay quiet. The video had racked up views in the tens of millions, and the company's name was now permanently attached to it. They put out a statement confirming Byron was being placed on leave, pending a formal investigation, with their co-founder stepping in as interim CEO. The company's language was carefully corporate, something about leaders being expected to set the standard in conduct and accountability. But the message underneath was clear. This wasn't going away quietly. Then came the resignations. First, Byron stepped down as CEO entirely. Days later, Cabot resigned too. 2 executive careers, both gone inside of 2 weeks, not because of a boardroom failure or a business scandal, but because of 8 seconds of jumbotron footage at a concert. Here's where the story gets more human and less meme. Months later, Kristen Cabot spoke on the record about what actually happened that night. Her account. She'd had a few drinks, made what she called a bad decision, and danced inappropriately close with her boss. She said both of them were already separated from their spouses at the time, and that the kiss that night was the first and only time anything had happened between them. She didn't try to dodge accountability for it. In her own words, she took responsibility and said she gave up her career because of it, calling it the price she chose to pay. But she also described what came after as something closer to a public execution than a scandal. She said she was doxxed. She received death threats. Strangers insulted her in public, in person, recognizing her from a viral clip that had been playing on repeat for weeks. And the fallout didn't stop at her career. Court records later showed she filed for divorce that same August. One more piece of a life that had been reorganized entirely by 8 seconds of video neither of them chose to be in. Plenty of caught-on-camera moments go viral for a day and disappear. This one didn't. It kept getting talked about for months. Therapists, relationship columnists, and culture writers kept coming back to it, trying to explain why. Part of it is obvious. Powerful people, positions of authority, an HR chief being the one caught in exactly the kind of situation her job existed to prevent. That's an irony the internet doesn't let go of easily. But part of it is something less about them and more about all of us. How fast a random, human, 2-second reaction to being caught on a screen can turn into a permanent digital record. Cabot didn't choose to become a headline. Neither did Byron. A stadium camera made that decision for them, and the internet did the rest. So here's what this story really leaves behind. Two people who, by their own account, made a bad decision on one specific night, and who then had that one night amplified into a career-ending, marriage-ending, global spectacle at a scale neither of them could have imagined walking into that stadium. It doesn't erase what happened, but it's worth asking how many of us have made a version of that same mistake, just without 70,000 people and a jumbotron watching. If this one hit different, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.